I spent a night or two this year streaming Bloodborne on my Twitch channel. The game was in the PlayStation Plus free games for the month, and I thought, what better time than now to jump in? The streams were actually pretty successful. I had a lot of people in chat helping me and guiding me through the game. The community for these games are insane. I beat a couple of bosses with a bit of co-op help from my friends, and I dropped the game again. After all, I had another game on my mind. I dropped it because it was too punishing. I don't play games to be beaten. I want to beat games. Don't get me wrong, I love a challenge, but this game and others like it just felt over the top with their ridiculous difficulty curve that required precision and dedication that unfortunately I just couldn't give. I could appreciate how Souls-like players can adapt and overcome, but it just wasn't for me. I went on to play Celeste and had an incredible time. The game was difficult but not too punishing. I wouldn't lose all my progress from an accidental jump or, honestly, my D-pad not correctly inputting. I felt the game was fair and encouraging. I made the last episode purely about Celeste, but truthfully I had another game on my mind. Hollow Knight. I decided to try another indie game that's been given a lot of praise over the last few years. It was described as Dark Souls cross Metroidvania, and while I usually give the Souls-like genre a bit of a wide berth, the Metroidvania genre has always grabbed my attention. I have a lot of love for the Metroid games, why wouldn't I love this game? It seemed to have a lot in common with Celeste, which I just enjoyed. A great art style, magnificent sound, 2D platforming. The difficulty was a little worrying, but truly, how hard could it be? Turns out, it's really freaking hard. But again, it felt fair. The combat's very basic. You can only attack in 4 directions. There are spells, honestly I didn't dabble too much in them. But that's about it. Anytime I died I felt it was my fault. And I would swiftly run back to the boss that killed me, or the platforms that bested me, and try again. I had to get good. And I did. I put 30 or so hours into the game, and I can safely say I got good. Not Steel Soul good, but good enough to say I beat the game, without too much cheese. The game gives you lore passively, and it gives you information rarely. I tried to go Googleless for my first run, but encountered some strange purple bouncy flowers that I just couldn't seem to work. A quick search told me that I'm an idiot and I should have known that downslash is a thing, and promptly became the downslash machine. It was my go-to move for all my boss fights. Downslash, downslash, downslash. The game didn't tell me about downslash. Maybe I should have assumed? I'd passed 2 major bosses at this point. It's a major part of the game. Why didn't it tell me? I'm used to hand-holding in games. These days you get shown every single one of your abilities via text box or cutscene. Developers want you to get the most out of their games, and I get that. But Hollow Knight doesn't do that. There are entire sections of the map that you never have to step foot in. Mini bosses that you might not ever see. Developers don't do this. Why would they hide their hard work? Hollow Knight isn't afraid to teach you to experiment and explore while beating you up all at the same time. I'd say I spent about 70% of this game lost. It was amazing. I just finished navigating a very rough patch of terrain with difficult enemies and needed a rest stop badly, when suddenly the floor caved in and I found myself in one of the deepest parts of the map, infested with the most disgusting looking characters I've ever seen. I spent maybe an hour trying to escape, but found myself going deeper and deeper. That's the gameplay cycle of this game. Get lost and keep going. I died a lot too. Bosses are hard. I swore and I threw my controller. Only once did I consider giving up. The Watcher Knights felt unfair and wrongly designed. I raged and I raged until I got good. I beat them. Looking back, it really wasn't too hard. I just wasn't good enough. Every boss is fair, and every death was my fault. I got better, and I beat the game. I know there are multiple endings, and I know I'll go back and complete them one day, but for now, I'm happy with my playthrough. Everything felt right. The atmosphere was perfect and exactly what I needed. I got the Metroidvania comparison, but I figured the Souls-like comparison was just there because of the difficulty. But it was so much more than that. It was the feeling you get when you put in the work and it finally pays off. I spent my time playing thinking, all the things I love about this game can be found in that same game I gave up last year. I love Hollow Knight and I consider it to be one of the best games I've ever played. I found some great comparisons with Celeste, not in the design, but in the way it made me feel. I feel like I hadn't given the Souls-like genre a real chance until now. Now I'm going to go back to Bloodborne. And I'm going to beat it. Because even though it was hard and unforgiving, I'm going to get good. Hey guys, thanks for watching the second episode of Beta Chat. If you haven't watched the first one, I recommend you check that one out. It's obviously about Celeste. If you've been watching this video, you'd probably know. I really didn't know what I wanted Beta Chat to be about when I first started. It was purely just an excuse to talk about Celeste and how much I enjoyed it. I started playing Hollow Knight and I decided I definitely wanted to do another video based on it. And I kind of decided what I wanted Beta Chat to be when I completed it. I really wanted it to be about games that make me feel a certain way. You know, games that really strike me and I find appealing, not just in, you know, in terms of like stopping me being bored, but, you know, really giving me something to think about. And I think both of these games really have given me something to think about. The next episode obviously is going to be about Bloodborne. I'm going to complete that one, so hopefully it doesn't take me too long. If you haven't checked out any of the other AGS stuff, the guys in AGS are great at what they do. We're trying to make a lot of content that'll cover a broad spectrum, so hopefully you find a little bit of what you like in there. Even if you just find it, you know, if you don't like all of it, find the playlist that has all the stuff that you do like and watch that. We'd really appreciate that. And yeah, really appreciate your time.